love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up, it's time to look at the enemy.
Hi everybody, Ricky here from Behind the Bars TV. Hope everybody is fit and well. And as usual, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers. I'm well over 21,000 now. I'm aiming for that 25,000 mark by the summer, which I think I'll achieve because last year I got 20,000 subscribers within about 8 months. So thank you all for watching and subscribing to the channel. But in this episode, I'm going to talk about Frankland Prison. Welcome to Hell. So anyone that had seen the Frankland Prison documentary, which I'd done, which was on Channel 5, I was telling the viewers about what happened when I first arrived in Frankland. So I arrived in Frankland when I was 21 years old, and the mindset I was in at the time, I wasn't arsed. I was on my way to one of the biggest maximum security prisons in the UK. There's 5 dispersal prisons in England, which is, most of you will know, is Frankland, Full Sutton, Long Lartin, Whitemoor and Wakefield. So those are the 5 high security prisons, or the dispersal prisons in England. And the majority of prisoners, if you're in prison and you're due to be moved somewhere, nobody wants to go to these prisons. Because like I said on the documentary, on my way through them gates, when I landed in reception, it had scrawled on the wall, scratched into the walls. This was the first memory I have of going into that prison. It said, "Welcome to Hell." But for me, the mindset I was in, I wasn't asked about going there. I actually wanted to go there. Believe it or not, from a young age, if you've been following us, you'll have seen the podcasts that I've done. The mindset I was in from the age of 7-year-old, I always wanted to go to prison. And that is probably down to the fact that my dad had spent a lot of time in prison before I was born. He'd done 14 years and he used to tell me about when he was in prison. And the people that I was surrounded by, like role models that I looked up to, had actually been to prison or they were on the way to prison. And they were going to, my next door neighbour was going to a naughty boys school and he was going out doing activities every day whilst the rest of us were going to school and working. He's going out doing activities, going out rowing, different things like that. And in my head, I'm thinking, well, I want to do that. I don't want to go to school. I want to go and do that. Then I'm thinking, like, when I'm hearing about these prison stories, I'm thinking, I want to go to prison. I want to experience it. But I ended up getting my wish. And this is how I ended up in Frankland with IPP, which is the same as a life sentence. So when I landed there, like I've just been saying, there was 5 of us went from Durham prison, transferred across to Frankland. It's only a 10-minute drive in the back of the paddy wagon. And we're all sitting in a little room together. I would say it would probably be about 8 foot by 8 foot. We're all in the waiting cell, waiting to get processed through at reception. And it was just quiet. It was silence. Everyone was looking around the room. But I'm looking at the other lads. And because I wanted to go into this prison, I wasn't fazed. I wasn't bothered. And the other lads are shitting themselves. They're thinking, what's ahead of us? And then obviously we're all looking at the wall and we're looking at the inscribed and saying, "Welcome to Hell." And one of the lads said it. And I seen one of the other lads, because there was no spaces left, sitting down. And he's just lying on the floor and he's back looking up. And when one of the other lads read it out, the look on his face, but I burst out laughing. Because sometimes when I get nervous as well, I get like a nervous laugh. So obviously I did have nerves as well. As much as I wanted to go there, I was still apprehensive of what's ahead of us because this place is full of the worst people possible. It's full of gangsters, full of hitmen. The majority of them are in for murder. And some of them have killed more than one. Some of them are doing life without parole. And this is what we're going into. We're going into the unknown. And everyone, like I've mentioned, is shitting their pants. And I burst out laughing and they're all like looking at us as if to say, but then the few of us all started laughing together because they're all must have been the same, but it was like a nervous laugh. So we're all waiting to get processed through. And when we were getting shouted up one at a time to go and see the screws, but the screws down at reception, when we arrived, they had a black outfit on. Most screws have got like a white shirt, like I've got on now, black pants. Sometimes they've got a coat on, a black coat, and sometimes they wear a black tie, from what I remember rightly. And these screws down reception were DST, which is a drug squad. And these are the ones that go and raid your pad and all that when the police when the screws get intelligence on you. So these were the ones that were processing us through in reception. And they weren't very welcoming, which they're not gonna be, although they're not gonna fucking greet you with shaking hands or welcome to hell. They just they were a bit abrasive. They weren't like fucking communicating much with you. They're just processing you through because that's the job. They're not asked about you or what you're here for. They're just processing you through, getting you up to the wing and all that. And we all got processed and we all walking up to the wing together. I think we all went on the same wing because there's F and G wing at the time at the top. So all 5 of us, we started getting to know each other a little bit. So obviously when you get up there, you still speak to each other. So you've got people that you know really. But obviously I knew people that was in Frankland. And as I'm going onto the wing, I'm walking down, I can see there was only the cleaners out at the time because it was during work hours. I think it was around about, say, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And the majority of lads are either behind the door or they're at work down in the workshops. So I was walking down the wing and I remember 2 of the cleaners, because obviously they'd been told I was coming. Because my dad was in Frankland at the time as well. So he'd obviously give them a heads up, and I'm walking down. And one of them was Russell from Durham, good lad. And the other one was Willie Moore, some Scouts gangster who's quite high up in their criminal chain down in Liverpool. A lot of people will know him. And these are the 2 that were on the cleaners at the time. So I'm walking down the wing, and they were all like, "Oh, are you, Rick?" So they come down. I went into my pad and they came in after us. They had bedding for us, give us a hi-fi, had a lot of stuff, so they welcomed us in. So for me, it wasn't as bad as someone that's coming into the unknown that doesn't know anyone on the wing. But welcome to hell for me, it wasn't what I would class as hell. Obviously, you're in there and it's a shit experience. It's bad. You don't like the place. You don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be in prison, but you're stuck there. You're in that environment. And you've just got to make the most of it. But the reason I'm doing these videos as well is because obviously the young'uns that are going down the same route I went down, and they're thinking it's big and thinking it's clever to go to prison, and you're going to have a hell of a time when you're in there. You're going to have a good time. It's all about being with your pals and having fun and just messing around, but it's not like that. Prison is a bad place, especially like when you get to Franklin, because them places, you're stuck there. If you're on a life sentence or IPP, it's very hard to get progressed and get moved from there. Sometimes you're stuck there. But Franklin, the dynamics of the jail, I'll just talk a little bit about that. It's mostly in cliques. And what I mean by cliques is most people, you've got like the Scousers, the Mackhams, the Geordies. You tend to keep with the same people from your area. But I got him with Russell, who was from Durham, and Willie Moore. So I got him with them lot. I was on their food boat. And that's who I mostly spent my time with whilst I was in Frankland. I spent 3 years in there. And although you meet people, you become friends with people, and you get on with your time because you've got no other option. Nobody wants to be there, really. If they had the choice of being in prison or being on the outside, which one do you think they're going to pick? They're going to pick the outside. So all these young'uns watching me videos, thinking that it's big and clever going to prison, if you're going into a prison like Frankland, I had people that I knew there, so they welcomed us in. If you're going there and you don't really know anybody, you land on the wing, people are going to sit and try and suss you out. They're going to look at you. They're going to think, why are you here? What are you in for? What can we get from you? Because there is people in there that are like vultures. They've got nothing, so they're going to look to try and take from anyone that can. They're looking for weak people. So if you're in there without your friends, you're all by yourself, you can't fight, you can't defend yourself, then you're going to become a victim, because I've seen lads in there getting tortured on a daily basis. And what I mean by tortured is verbally tortured. There was one lad in particular, it was the way that he acted as well and the way that he presented himself. He had no friends, but he was doing a 25-year life sentence. And he got victimized every day mostly it was off the Scouse kids. So every single day he's coming out and people just griefing him, verbally abusing him. And that is enough to do someone's nothing, to get inside the head. If you're getting abused every day verbally of a bunch of lads, and there's nothing you can do about it, then there's only one or two things that end up happening. Sometimes they retaliate if they've got the arse to do it, or they get pushed to the limits, or they go and put themselves on protection. Because more times than often, what happens when people put themselves on protection, it happens when the rest of the lads are banged up. And if you hear a door opening after bang up, everyone's at the door like that. They're trying to look through the gaps. They're thinking something's going on. They're shouting out to the neighbours, "Oi, can you see what's going on there?" And this is when they've been on the bell. They've said something to the screws. Sometimes they've given information about people. Some people that's got phones, or the lads that are selling drugs, because they've got to give some sort of info to get off the wing and get put on protection. And this is what happens to them. They put themselves on protection. And then what protection is living with the beasties, living with the nonsense. So you get put on protection, or you put yourself on it, then you're living with the likes of Ian Huntley, Levi Belfield, all them sickos. So this is what I'm trying to get through to people. If you're outside with your pals, getting pissed up, thinking you're the big one, carrying knives, carrying guns, thinking it's all a game, it's all going to come tumbling down on you when you get arrested for a violent offence, or whatever sort of offences you're up to, and you land in a place like that and you're by yourself. Sometimes a lot of the lads that are committing the crimes outside whilst they're intoxicated, they wouldn't do it when they're sober. So then when you get put in prison and you're sober up, you've got no one around you, what are you going to do then? You're fucked. So think about your actions before you do them. And this is what I'm trying to get through to people with these videos, because next week I've sort of went into a bit of a partnership with a school up here, and I'm going in to do talks with the kids, and I'll probably be showing them these type of videos just to let them know what's going to happen if they go to prison, because the kids that I'm going to be working with are at high risk because they're already in trouble with the police. They've been kicked out of school, and they're now at that point where it's make or break. So what I'm doing is I'm going into the schools, and I'm going to be sitting, talking to them, telling them about these stories, telling them what's going to happen if you're landing in a prison like Frankland, and try and educate them. Not like these people that you see on TikTok, where you see these videos all the time, people putting on TikTok where they're having raves in the pads, they've got the tunes blasting, they're all on the hoot shell bouncing around. Oh, you might think it's fun and games. At the time, I've been there, I've done that. I've done them parties in Frankland prison. I was in there, we used to get pissed up. We'd be in the pad, we'd have the tunes on, and we'd all be fucking enjoying the moment. But then in the morning when you sober up again, you're locked behind that door, you're in a world of shit, realisation comes down. They didn't show them videos on here, they should. Not that why would you show a video of that, but if you could, the next day go into these lads' pads who's been partying on TikTok and go in and video them then. They'll be lying on the bed, suicidal, sick of the life. So these are the videos that should be shown to show the kids and deter the kids from going to prison. But that was the reason behind making this video, just to let people know what it's like going into a high security prison. If you're not tough enough to stick up for yourself whilst you're in these sort of prisons, then you're going to get victimized. The majority of people, don't get us wrong, they do get through the sentence okay, but you're all going to come to a point where some of these lads that I'm talking about, that I'll refer to as vultures, are going to team up and come and put the pressure on you at some point, because it happens to nearly every single person throughout the sentence. You get tested at some point where someone tries to fuck on. And there's a few people that said in the comments on some of my videos, have I ever had any trouble? Have I ever had any fights in prison? I've done videos on these in the past, but it was quite a while ago when I first started doing the videos. But I will upload more videos and tell you about the altercations that I had whilst I was in prison, because I've had fights, I've had lads, I've had situations where I've been tested. More so when I first went in. Some idiot, because it was my first time in. He was smaller than me as well, but he was just trying to test us to see how I would react. But I reacted with violence and aggression back to him, and he sharp shitty self. But obviously I'm a big lad. 6'4". When I first went into prison, I was 15.5 stone. By the time I came out, I was nearly 18 stone. But like I say, I could handle myself, and I knew how to cope in these sort of situations. But if you haven't got the, I was going to say courage here, but not so much courage. But if you haven't got the capacity behind you to confront these situations, then you're going to become a victim and you're going to be bullied. So that is the reality of prison. But then for you, it will be welcome to hell, because it'll be hell for you every single day throughout your sentence. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. But remember to like and subscribe. But look back through my previous videos. I've got loads of different topics. And I've also got about, I think it's 13 podcasts. If you go on my playlist, I've got interviews with ex-prisoners. Go and give them a watch. But enjoy the rest of your day, people. Take care.